Hello, and welcome back to the State of the Fandom. I am your democratically elected president for life of time and space, and future president of the United States, Neil Fox. And with me, as always, is...
Link Labrador, the ever-vigilant watchdog, and the adorable Floofy boy.
Welcome, adorable, vigilant watchdog Floofy boy. So, we were just talking about the difference between a lazy river and a drain. What is the difference, my dear? And just to clarify for people, we were talking... so he just put his fingers in the sauce and then scratched himself. I think he might be a dog. It's very difficult to tell.
I'm a puppy.
So, we're talking about an analogy to describe jobs.
Yes.
So, most people that I know, at the very least, and most people that I have read about, so, in my estimation, at least 99% of people feel like they are circling a drain.
Yes.
I would like to circle a theme park in a lazy river.
Me too.
Now, what is the difference between the two?
Well, circling a drain is you're scraping by day to day, and you're doing the bare minimum necessary to survive.
Everything feels out of control. Everything is moving so... Like, imagine if you were going around a drain. Imagine if you were like a Lego man going around a drain. It would be so fast that you would have trouble even keeping up with things.
Well, that's not my definition of circling a drain.
Okay.
My definition of circling a drain is working at the same job that you have for 30 years.
Now,
having that...
a lot of people would disagree with you, and here's why. Many people find satisfaction in their job, even if they don't get paid very much for it. So why would that be circling a drain to you? Because for that person who is satisfied with their job, it doesn't feel like circling a drain.
Well, there's so much more to this world.
Yes.
There's so many more adventures to this world.
Mm-hmm.
I have met people at Goodwill who felt like they were wasting their lives away because they had traveled to Thailand. They were a teacher in Thailand.
Okay.
They had traveled around the world.
Sure.
They had done this, they'd done that, they'd done this.
Yeah.
It's okay to stop at a job for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason. Which, there's perfectly good reasons to work at a regular job, regular 9 to 5.
Sure.
Perfectly valid reasons.
Sure.
But there's also enough reasons that you don't have to. It's like, oh, I've been here for 20 years. That's great. Why? Why have you been here for 20 years?
Oh, for most people, at least, and to be fair, I speak from the perspective of someone who comes from a southern state. Mm-hmm. So I speak primarily from the perspective of someone who grew up around Republicans.
Yeah.
So, I am not a Republican, to be clear. I lean more liberal, but I am an independent, like you.
Yes.
Now, when I say lean more liberal, I don't mean lean over to the, oh, well, why not to only eat tofu and all that? Like, no, that's just dumb. When I say liberal, I mean things like free healthcare.
Yes.
Free college.
Yep.
Those are liberal ideas, apparently. Seems kind of dumb to me that, the idea of giving people K through 12 and not giving people college is impossible. Sure, it's impossible. There's no way we could possibly find the money to do it. It's impossible. But anyway, most people would say, well, I work at a job because I have to. But where I get my satisfaction, they may get satisfaction from their work to some extent, but most people find joy and happiness in their life from other things. So, for many people, it's their church. For many people, it's their family, or their pets, or playing video games, or traveling. These are the things that people say, quote, make life worth living. Now, why, in your opinion, do other people, other than you, do those things as a hobby instead of full-time.
Do which things? Work or play?
Things that make life worth living. So if okay, I'll simplify it, okay?
Yeah?
Take someone who loves woodworking.
Yes.
Many people love woodworking. Many people have a home studio where they do woodworking or quilting or crocheting or whatever. If that to them is what makes life worth living, why are they only doing it on Saturday and Sunday and going and working at a fucking dead-end job at a grocery store the rest of the time? Why do people make that decision? Because it is a decision.
Yes.
A person who is an expert woodworker could create a woodworking business, or a person who is an expert quilter. You know, a woodworker is generally male, or a blacksmith is generally male.
Mm-hmm.
A quilter or a scrapbooker is generally female. So we're not talking about gender here. We're talking about people. Why do people do things on the weekend that make them happy, and then do things that make them miserable for 5 out of 7 days of the week?
Because they've been fed the lie. And this is a lie. They've been fed the lie that being a calm, obedient sheep is the American ideal.
Yes, absolutely.
When in reality, how is this country founded? What is manifest destiny? What is, in essence, the American dream?
The American dream, at least as I define it, and I'm sure the American dream is a big enough topic that I'm sure many people have different definitions of it.
Yes.
But for me, the American dream is opportunity.
Yes.
You know, let's think about the average person. Okay?
Yes.
The average person. And we'll say the average low-income person, for example. Not somebody with $1 billion in the bank, not somebody with a really nice house, something like that. A low-income person. So where would this person be from? Perhaps the inner city. Mm-hmm. Perhaps a really rural area in Kentucky or West Virginia or something.
Or you're just getting your start,
Yeah.
and you're building steam in your steam engine.
Right.
Now, put it another way. One of the greatest influential speakers I've ever wandered across upon the YouTube
The YouTube.
is CCP Gray.
CGP Gray.
Thank you.
CCP Gray would be someone from the Soviet Union.
Okay, I botch his name frequently. Thank you, dog.
You're welcome, Mr. Labrador.
But his advice was to take the adventurous path when you're young, because you can always find fish. If you're not catching enough fish, go cast your hook somewhere else.
Yes,
If
absolutely.
If you have to fall forward into a new position, take myself. I can fall forward into any job. I am overqualified
Absolutely.
for the vast majority of jobs.
Yes, you are.
And I also have the skills, knowledge, resources, and know-how to make it look like I have a permanent residency somewhere, if I need it.
Well,
Step one. Okay, so if you ever shatter your life into 1,000 pieces, step one, open a bank account somewhere. That requires almost no identification other than your social security number, your ID, and this.
That's correct.
Start there.
Absolutely.
Then, once you have a bank account, find a few friends, and then make your permanent residency, in quote unquote, your mailing address.
Make your permanent residency your mailing address. When you say a couple of friends, why would they need a couple of friends to have a permanent address?
Because you need somewhere to have a mailbox. You need a mail.
Right, so, hold on. So, I like where your idea is going, but you don't have to have a house. You don't have to have an apartment. You don't even have to have a storage unit. to have an address. For $30 a month, you can have a post office box.
Yes.
And you can open up a bank account with most banks out of a post office box.
Uh-huh.
So, I like where your idea is going, but let me add to it, okay?
Yep.
Say someone is listening to this podcast, and they live in rural Tennessee. Some of those places we just drove through.
Yep.
They feel like their life is going nowhere, there's no jobs in their town, and life sucks.
Yes.
They've been applying for jobs for months, they can't find nothing. Darling, all they would have to do is buy a Greyhound ticket. Or hitchhike. If they don't have the money for a Greyhound ticket, just hitchhike. Why are people so afraid of hitchhiking? There's all these, like, scary stories of, oh, well, people get murdered while hitchhiking. Well, yes, you get murdered in your own home a lot more often than you get murdered hitchhiking.
Exactly.
People, in general, want to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
If you stand, not on a highway because it's illegal, unfortunately, but if you stand on a state road with your thumb out, someone will pick you up, even if it's a police officer. Oh, you need to go somewhere, citizen? Yes, I do. Would you take me to the police station in the middle of town where I can walk to the post office and get things done? Mm-hmm. Of course, citizen. I'd be happy to do that.
Yes.
You're not trespassing if you're on a state road.
Exactly.
You're not breaking the law by holding out your thumb on a state road.
Now, myself, I had a decently paying job. It paid the bills. It got shit done.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, crazy life circumstances made me reassess my position and
hold on 1 second. So, for the sake of the audience, I just want to tell you something. Okay?
Yes.
Now, tell them something, I should say.
Yes.
So, my wonderful future husband is perhaps the most stubborn person in the world.
Uh-huh.
I thought I was the most stubborn person in the world. And then I met my husband. Or my fiancé. I met my fiancé and I said, oh, I thought I knew what stubborn was. Just to give a little bit of context, listeners, I have been trying to convince him, or I should say I had been trying to convince him, for about 6 months to move on to a different job. Because it was making him miserable.
Yes.
Not only that, but it was making us sick.
Uh-huh.
About once every month or two. And I don't know about you, but any amount of money, even if they were paying you $1,000 an hour, any amount, which they were not, but any amount of money, in my opinion, is not worth getting violently ill every couple of weeks. Now, darling, I knew that your job was important to you. And so, I said, both in words and actions,
Yes.
it is okay that you want to do this because I care about you and I know that having this job is important to you. So, I did not say, well, I've been sick 2 times. Or I've been sick 5 times. So now I'm going to say this is an ultimatum. You have to quit or else you have to go find a different boyfriend. Like, I'm not that type of person.
No. And I kept saying throughout those 6 months that I was more than happy to quit when
you were ready.
When I was ready and when things were in a row.
Yeah. Well,
I agreed
here's the thing.
I agreed with you.
Here, I know you did, my love, but I'm trying to explain both for your sake and the sake of the audience.
Yes.
Like, so, we were almost murdered.
Yes.
And I could see in your face as you were making the decision to call out of work, not even quit, just call out for the day. For the day! I could see in your face how difficult that was for you. I was almost murdered. Should I call out of work?
But then I quit on the spot.
You did. And was that the right decision?
Yes.
Now.
Because I made the decision.
Yes, exactly.
And that is the only qualifier for a right decision in this world, people.
Yes. Okay. This is something that I would love to put as rule number 1, or rule number 5, at the very beginning of the Book of Trey.
Yeah.
A book that my husband has been writing for the past 10 years.
Yes.
A rule that I think is very important for people to know. It is better to make the wrong decision than to make no decision.
Mm-hmm.
And people have so much trouble being wrong, quote unquote. Oh, I don't want to be wrong. And so they stay in a job they hate for 40 years. Oh, I don't want to take risks, so I'm going to be miserable for 40 years until I can retire on Social Security and live on $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why? You have such a tiny, finite lifespan. A tiny lifespan. Any person on Earth, you could be 120 years old, and you can ask that person, how long did your life feel? And they go, short, man. Very short. I wish I had another 120 years.
Yeah.
Please, ask your grandparents, and they will say, every single one will say this, with almost no exception. I mean, there's always exceptions when it comes to psychology, but psychologically speaking, time feels very short for most people. And so people get this intuitively. Time is short. Not only that, but your time could end at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
You could have an aneurysm. You could be struck by lightning. You could be struck by a meteor. At any moment.
Well, if you get struck by a meteor, at least someone's gonna get rich. Meteors are stupidly valuable.
I know that, but it doesn't matter to me. I don't care if my neighbor is a millionaire after I die. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
Yes.
What I'm trying to point out for the listeners, who many of them are going to be relatively young, I would assume, young parents, people just starting out their careers, people just graduating college, these types of people are probably going to be, these are the types of people that listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
So it is likely that most of our audience is going to be under the age of 30.
Mm-hmm.
Even for the adult podcast.
Yes.
So, if you are under the age of... I am 30 now.
Mm-hmm.
If you are under the age of 30, please take risks. There is no reason to get into a dead-end job before the age of, let's say, 40 or 50. If you are 50 years old and you want to save for retirement so that you can retire in 15 years, and you have to do a really shitty job that you hate to do that, me personally, I would still say don't do that. But if you can do it and get a pension and live from the age of 65 to 85 in Bermuda, why not? You're doing it for a reason.
Yes.
You're doing it so that you can retire. You're not doing it just because people say you should.
Mm-hmm.
Darling, what would have happened if you came from a family like mine that insists that every child should go and get a bachelor's degree in the liberal arts? would you have been happy getting a bachelor's degree in business, for example, where 99% of the work is reading and memorization and math?
No, I wouldn't.
So you made the decision.
To not go to college.
You made the decision. Hold on. Let's go back a little bit more.
Yeah.
You made the decision to pursue woodworking and carpentry
Yes.
as your vocation,
Yes.
your vocational training.
Mm-hmm.
And then in addition to that, you decided not to go to college, even though you could have for free.
Yes.
But would taking mandatory math classes and English classes and science classes have made you happy?
I don't know.
The answer is no. A English class where you have to learn how to conjugate sentences would make you miserable. Who cares where the adverb goes? Who cares? It doesn't matter!
What's an adverb?
Darling, if you make a spelling mistake on a paper in college, you get a bad grade.
Yes.
Who cares?
You have to be perfect as college because college-educated students, quite frankly, have the education of a 5th grader.
See,
They have done that. I am being hyperbolic just a little bit and a little over-dramatic. But the vast majority of American colleges is a waste of fucking time unless you go to a really good one like Harvard University or Oxford University.
here's the thing. So why is it worth it, quote unquote, to go to Harvard? Why is it worth it?
The name.
Uh-huh.
Other than that,
Is the education different?
who knows? Are the teachers better?
No.
No.
So they're obviously they're going to be of high quality
Obviously.
because they have the money to pay whatever teacher they want. You know, teachers at Harvard make like $200,000 a year. Of course they're going to have good teachers. But the subject matter is the same.
If it's the subject matter to be a surgeon, that's pretty standardized subject matter.
If it's American history,
It's gonna be the thing.
you could go to a community college and read the same textbook. The same textbook
Yes.
as Harvard.
If it's engineering, if you want to be in engineering, you can go to a community college and get an engineering degree.
So, why would someone want to go to Harvard versus a community college?
Because the prestige, the honor, I have a certificate from Harvard University, and they have declared me a genius. Da 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 da. I am the best at what I fucking do. I am a doctor, that is what I am. Don't
I have
look at my test cause I finished last. I am a Harvard educated student.
So I have a question. Just a question.
Yeah?
Not including very highly paid professions like doctors and, I don't know, engineers that work on oil farms, oil fields or whatever.
Engineers that work for NASA.
Engineers that work for NASA don't make that much money. Hold on, let me make my point.
Okay.
Do most people, again, I'm not talking about the edge cases, I'm not talking about the ends of the bell curve, I'm talking about the middle of the bell curve, okay?
Uh-huh.
Do most people who graduate from Harvard make $350 an hour at the age of 28?
No.
Did I make $350 an hour at the age of 28 at one of the most prestigious and most well-known consulting firms in America?
Yes, you did.
Now, how did I get that job? Did I go to Harvard?
No.
How did I get that job?
You went to college, and you also ran your own businesses. You created stuff from the ground up, on top of let's see.
Let me
You had opportunities other people just simply didn't have.
let me stop you right there, because you're close, but that's not quite it, okay? I came from a very poor part of the country.
Yes.
Very poor. Arkansas is desperately poor.
Yeah.
Missouri, the panhandle of Missouri, where I lived for quite a few years as a teenager, is even more desperately poor.
Yeah.
The average income in that part of Missouri is like $30,000 a year for a family.
What the fuck?
For a family.
I was making like 20 grand a year up in Maine. Maine is a stupidly wealthy place. You know how I managed to survive and make money? I didn't make it from my day-to-day job. I made it from my side hustles. I got pretty good at it.
Uh-huh. So, I came from a very poor part of the country.
Uh-huh.
I did not have access to Harvard. I did not have access to Stanford. Because, not because I wasn't smart enough to go, but because I did not know the process that is necessary to get into one of these fancy colleges.
Mm-hmm.
I could have gone to almost any school in the country for free because of my grades, but I did not know how to do the process of applying to Harvard. Now, what might stop someone from a poor family from applying to Harvard?
Knowledge.
And,
Money.
darling, how much does it cost to apply to a college?
I will bounce a ball back to you. I'm not sure.
Generally between $100 and $250 per application. So I couldn't apply to every college that I wanted to go to. I couldn't.
No.
So I applied to ones that I knew that I would get into, and a few long shots. In addition, I only took the SAT and the ACT once. I did not know that rich kids take it 10 times, and then they only use the last score. I did not know that kids from rich families go to very morally bankrupt doctors and get prescriptions for Ritalin and diagnoses of ADHD when they don't have ADHD. So they get 50% more time on the test and are on speed while they take it.
Yes. Now, myself, I am very much ADHD. I knew about taking the SATs multiple times. I am a goddamn genius that never went to college. I had all the resources.
And again, because you were a foster kid, you could have gone for free.
Exactly. I had all of Neil's... I had the opposite of Neil's problems.
Okay.
I knew about taking it multiple times.
Okay.
I had ADHD.
Sure.
I was basically on speed most of the time.
Yeah.
I chose not to go to college, even though I would have succeeded. I would have succeeded very well in college.
Sure. And you probably would have taken a course that is more suited to your specific brain. Like a course to learn how to be a farmer, for example, would be something that you would be great at.
I would have gone to USM, University of Southern Maine, or I would have gone to SMCC,
Sure.
Southern Maine Community College. You know what both of those colleges are?
Tell me.
Guess.
What they are?
Yes.
Accredited? I don't know.
They are vocational colleges.
Ah, okay, of course. Yeah, got it.
I could have furthered my vocation.
But you chose to further your vocation by doing your vocation.
Uh-huh. That vocation happened to be kitchen work. 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty damn good in the kitchen. That 10th time, weird shit happens.
That 10th time is when he burns or cuts or fillets himself by accident. He
I made a record.
I saw your red rocket. Yes. So, let me backtrack just a little bit.
Yep.
Because we've gotten off on a puppy tangent.
Oh,
a puppy trail.
A puppy trail.
We've gone off on a puppy trail for a moment. The puppy brain has run off into the distance. So let's reel it back just a little bit, okay?
Yep.
What we are trying to do in this podcast is teach people, especially young people, things that they can do and things that they should know to help them. So let's say that someone is listening to this podcast on their 18th birthday, because you should not listen to this podcast if you're under the age of 18.
Yes, please don't. It's
Please
creepy
do
and weird.
not, because we say a lot of sexual and explicit things on this podcast, because it is for adults. It is not for children. Just to be clear.
Yes, we're adults now.
I'm an adult.
Right?
So, let's say someone is listening to this on their 18th birthday in rural Mississippi. What advice would you give to that person who, we'll assume, has just graduated from high school, is thinking about where to go to college? What would you give that person? What advice would you give that person?
Take advantage of your Pell Grants.
Yes.
Make sure that you've taken the SAT multiple times.
Uh-huh.
Take speed if you have to.
If you have ADHD, yes. But the thing... hold on 1 second. Not speed, my love. Legal Ritalin.
Fine.
Because if you encourage 18-year-olds to take illegal drugs, people will be very upset. We are not talking about illegal drugs.
No,
we are talking about things like Ritalin.
Yeah, take Ritalin if you have to.
Take Ritalin, darling. Take Ritalin if you have ADHD. Not if you have to. If you have ADHD and it is legal for you to do so.
Okay.
It is very important that you not encourage people who have just turned 18 to take illegal drugs, my dear, on a public podcast.
Okay.
Think before you speak, please. All right. So here's the advice that I would give to that person. Okay?
Yep.
You are at the very beginning of your adult life. You have the ability now, as opposed to yesterday when you were 17 years old. You are now 18 years old. Other than drinking, you have the ability to do anything that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you have desired your entire life to travel to Japan because you are a weeaboo, why would you not? You can sign up to be an English teacher in Japan, and they will pay you an excellent wage. They will pay your flight. They will pay you in money. They will give you food. They will give you housing.
Yes.
You will come back with almost all of the money that you made because you don't have to pay for food and housing and travel.
Now, over in Japan, there's a lot of fun things to do, and there's a lot of fun ways to burn money.
Well, yes, but my point is that, let's say this person got a $14 an hour job teaching English in Japan versus a $14 an hour job bagging groceries. One, would a weeaboo person, for those in the audience who may not know, that is a person who enjoys anime, would that person enjoy being in Japan?
No, they wouldn't.
Darling, they are a weeaboo.
Oh, yes,
Of
yes.
course they would enjoy being in Japan. What are you talking about? You are talking about a person who is obsessed with Japan. Why would they not want to go to Japan for free?
Good point. They would love to go to Japan for free.
Yes!
As a weeaboo.
As a weeaboo. As an anime fan.
That's cute how you say it.
A weeaboo. I'm
I'm Ira Glass.
I'm Ira Glass.
I'm Ira Glass.
Now, I'm not saying that every single 18-year-old should go to Japan. I'm saying that if a person is obsessed with Japan, and someone will pay them exceptionally good money to go to Japan for free, why would they not do that? In fact, many universities in Asia and Europe will give you a college education for free. All you have to do is apply for it. So, let's assume for the sake of argument, this 18-year-old person, they decide to apply for a couple of different things. They've just graduated high school, they're not really sure where to go yet. So, here's what I would do if I were you. If I could go back and tell myself at 18 years old, here's what I would do, okay? 1, apply for lots of different things, not just colleges. Apply for vocational schools. Apply for jobs teaching English in Japan or China or wherever you want to go. Apply for interesting jobs with places like nonprofits.
Yes.
If you okay, one of the people that we work with is named Victoria. She is the founder of a charity called Last Chance Corral.
Yes.
From approximately March to June, she has more work than she can possibly do with almost any number of staff.
Yes.
She is always, during that time of the year when the horses are being born, she is always looking for staff.
Uh-huh.
She will pay you, she will give you lodging, and she will give you food.
Yes.
Darling, what do most women, I'll say girls, but I mean women because we're talking about over the age of 18. What do most girls love?
Horses.
Uh-huh. So why would a person 18 years old go and get a job at a bank for $14 an hour and feel like their soul is being crushed out of their body?
Uh-huh.
When you could go and get paid $14 an hour plus room and board plus food to go and work with baby horses.
Or take me, for example. One thing I absolutely adore and love is weird old shit.
That's true.
Now, my favorite job, unironically, was working at Goodwill.
Yes.
And here's why. The pay was shit.
Yeah.
The management staff was borderline retarded.
Yeah. Borderline, sure.
The manager sat in her office taking selfies all day.
Jesus.
Useless. But you know what made the job fun and interesting for me?
Tell me.
Cool old shit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what's this cool thing? I got a good feeling about this old thing. You're too over-enthusiastic.
Did they tell you that?
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's not worth anything.
You're too over-enthusiastic about working for a charity. That is so stupid.
Like, you're over... Like, it's this way because I say so. Put it this way. She was about as tall as you are. Her name was Sarah. She was about as tall as you are.
Okay.
Standing.
Uh-huh.
About 400 pounds. Real ego trip.
400 pounds?
I'm over-exaggerating.
Jesus.
Fucking bimbo. I would bring, I'd have a question. It's like, why are you bothering me? I'm busy. I'm doing important manager work over here.
I'm taking selfies because I want to post on Facebook that I work for a charity.
No, that was Melinda, Marissa.
It doesn't matter, my dear.
Her name is irrelevant.
It doesn't matter, my dear. The point is, you enjoyed the work.
Yes!
Despite the fact that you were giving all of the money to someone else.
Yes!
Darling.
Now, what if I...
Hold on. Hold on. If you had met me 5 years ago, or however many years ago after you started working there, and you had gotten trained at the job.
Yeah.
Here's what I would have told you. Why? Why, Trey, are you working for someone else and making them millions of dollars a year when you could, for a couple $100, set up your own LLC or charity and do the same work
because...
and make millions of dollars?
And here's my response that I would have given you then.
Okay.
My response, if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, I like what you do. Come work with me on this." I'm like, okay, let's think about this.
Hey, I like what you do. Come work with me on this.
I had to find the right person and I had to go through life in my own way.
Absolutely. And see, here's the thing. Here is something that I greatly admire about you, my love.
Yeah?
You live life with no regrets.
No! There's almost nothing to regret.
That is something that I have had to work very hard to change about myself. Because I had a lot of regrets for many years.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way anymore. As an example, people 7 years later are still sending me death threats over copying artwork from the My Little Pony show.
They need to get over that.
7 years ago, I broke the law. I did. It was illegal. I should not have done it. But, who was harmed?
Literally no one.
Literally no one. I did not copy the artwork of any individual artist. I copied the intellectual property of a $5 billion corporation. I'm so sorry that Hasbro cared so much about it that they didn't even send me a letter from a lawyer called a cease and desist.
Mm-hmm.
So, Hasbro doesn't care.
No.
They didn't care. The statute of limitations on copyright infringement is 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if they cared, they could have, from the year of 2015 to 2018, they could have sent me a cease and desist if they chose to. They did not. So that means that Hasbro doesn't care. Now, yes, I did break the law. But since the statute of limitations has expired, that means the government doesn't care. The judiciary doesn't care. The courts don't care. The police don't care. I could show a police officer the traced work that I did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, work, quote unquote. I could show people the traced artwork that I made. I could show a police officer and say, "Please put me in handcuffs. I have broken the law." And the police officer would say, "This expired in the statute of limitations 4 years ago. Please go home."
Yeah.
So if the government doesn't care, and Hasbro, the wronged party, doesn't care, then why do furries care? And why do bronies care? Now,
Because they're self-righteous.
that is only part of the answer. Okay?
Yep.
On the internet, people love to go on witch hunts.
They do!
You have been the subject of many witch hunts yourself.
Yes, I have. And guess what I say to each and every one of them? Are you done yet? Do you feel better about yourself?
How does it feel?
Go away.
How does it feel, furries, to have bullied an autistic person in a wheelchair? How does it make you feel?
You're an asshole.
Uh-huh. But I am an asshole for the right reasons. I am an asshole to get things done efficiently.
Yes.
Sometimes an asshole is necessary. Do you have an asshole?
Yes.
Does every human being have an asshole? With some very minor exceptions, but does every human being have an asshole?
Yes.
Sometimes assholes are necessary! And that is my soapbox for today.
Okay, now, a quick word from our sponsor, American Wood Art. We are running a special promo of Come Save the Puppies and Kittens.
Come save the puppies and kittens!
If you use
Tell us about this promo!
If you tell us about this promo, you will receive 50% off your next...
50%?
Yes.
Wow.
50% off.
Okay.
And that 50% goes to... is a charitable donation.
Okay. Wow. So, like, if a pen is normally $100, then they would be spending $50, but that $50 is a donation.
Yes.
Okay, I like it.
That other half is a charitable donation to the Last Chance Corral.
Okay, so your promotion is called Save the Puppies and Kittens.
And ponies.
And pony. Okay, got it. Because they don't save puppies and kittens at the Last Chance Corral.
No.
A corral is for horses, my dear.
Well, I like to save puppies and kittens and ponies, so...
Well, so here, let me help you. Okay, so my lovely future husband wants to make sure that he can donate as much money as possible to animal rescue. And this is something that's very important to me, too.
Yeah.
So, we are trying to raise money in multiple different ways for Last Chance Corral. And one of those ways is through American Wood Art. So if you're interested, how do they take advantage of this promotion? What is the promo code, my dear?
The promo code is...
Corral. The promo code is Corral.
The promo code is Corral.
Corral.
And by using this promo code, 50% of your purchase will go to...
You, darling, no. You are so bad at percentages, my dear. So, what you are trying to say is 50% off. That is what you said at first.
Yes.
So, that means that it is not 50% of their purchase. It means they would pay $100 for a pen. And now it's $50. And you're saying that you would give whatever is left over after the cost of making the pen, of, $15 or whatever it is, you're going to give the profit from that sale to the Last Chance Corral, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, for those in the audience who may have difficulty with percentages, he's saying half off and profits to charity. That's what he's trying to say.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for sponsoring us, American Wood Art, owned by Trey Playstead. Let's go ahead and end the podcast for today. We've been recording for about 47 minutes, so that's a pretty good length. Thank you so much for listening. We are so excited for you to come along on this presidential journey with us, and we look forward to recording future podcasts from the White House.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. Please give it a like if you're listening on YouTube. Please give it a favorite or a review if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, and we will see you next time.
See you later, guys. Peace.